check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
We are just over 1 week out from the big fight, and the odds makers have Canelo listed as a 4-1 favorite. And for good reason, if you ask me. But I also think the fight will be a lot more competitive than the odds suggest, and that will be in large part because of Dmitry Bivol's high-level long guard game. Against Joe Smith Jr., he ran a long guard clinic, showcasing all of its defensive systems and offensive tools en route to a wide decision win. In this video, we're going to review a few of those techniques and explain why a sophisticated long guard game might give Canelo some problems, especially when he tries to spring his favorite counter-punching trap. If at any point in this video you're unclear about terminology or concepts being discussed, please refer to this video on beginner long guard defense. You can find timestamps in that video's description for easy reference. You might also consider subscribing if you're interested in more videos on long guard offense and development drills in the future. But no pressure. As discussed in our long guard video, all punches are designed to travel down specific attack lines or lanes, and defensive traffic is the practice of using our gloves to block those punch lanes. This is the bread and butter of long guard defense, and it's the main reason we carry the lead hand out in a basic long guard position. When used properly, defensive traffic makes it very hard for opponents to land or even initiate punches. They're forced to either punch through your hands or to alter the path of the punch to loop around, adding travel time and forcing them away from the punch mechanics they know and love. As you can see here, Bivol is very good with defensive traffic. He uses it to control attack lanes, take specific punches away from the opponent, blind, measure, and set up a number of powerful long guard parries. It might give Canelo some trouble if he gets up to his usual tricks and tries to bait behind a high guard. The long guard opens up some unique and powerful parrying tools that aren't available from a traditional close guard position, including quick, energy-efficient deflections and higher control, higher commitment options like lifts and drops. Bivol does both, and he does them well. Punching past his hands will not only be difficult, but dangerous. Anytime Canelo chooses to wait and bait behind a high guard, which is his pet counter-punching trap we'll discuss later, Bivol can control the lanes with traffic and put all of these long parries online, making it that much harder for Canelo to get his offense going. If the opponent's close enough to punch, they are close enough for hand traps, and sometimes those are the better option. And I think that might be the case sometimes when Canelo attempts his pet counter-punching setup. Bivol routinely uses hand traps to take his opponent's hands offline and stay safe while punching and moving. If Canelo tries to wait and bait behind the high guard, he's going to have to worry about Bivol's sticky hands. If you don't know by now, control is the practice of using the palm, heel, forearm, or glove to exert full body force against the opponent. Pushing and pulling, breaking posture, blinding, off-balancing, and bullying, doing whatever you need to do to dictate when and where the fight takes place. Bivol has a rock-solid control game and clinch, and he transitions to them seamlessly out of the long guard whenever opponents move within reach. As Canelo advances behind his high guard for his counter-punching trap, he will be offering up a lot of control opportunities, and I suspect Bivol might take them. Sure, he may be a 4-1 underdog, but Bivol's long guard game makes the Canelo fight a little more interesting, since it directly counters one of his favorite counter-punching traps, rock, paper, scissors style. Allow me to explain. The first step in Canelo's trap is to show his opponents a high guard. He presents a big static target and invites you to punch, or ideally to commit with big punches. Of course, things are not always what they seem in boxing. Canelo is presenting a target on purpose so that he can influence where his opponents aim their punch and convince them to commit big so they can miss big and he can counter big. He watches from behind his guard, creeping forward all the while, and as soon as he sees you commit an attack, he moves off the line that he drew, and counters. Pressure fighters love this tactic because it gives them a shield to work behind and forces the opponent to make a choice. One, you can take the bait and attack the target, walking right into the trap they've prepared, or two, you can ignore the bait, don't punch, either give ground and disengage, or allow them to creep into range unchecked, where they may be able to launch attacks and find a rhythm more easily. Similar to feinting, the long guard creates a third option. Don't take the bait, don't ignore the bait, disarm the trap. Instead of choosing between punching or passivity, you throw a wrench in the whole setup and gradually gain control of the exchange, turning the pressure back on the pressure fighter and checking their advance every step of the way. When you see the opponent present a target and you sense a trap, take the basic long guard position, LG1, and create defensive traffic to disrupt line of sight and block primary punch lanes. Remember, the position alone will not save you. Punches will come over and under your extended hands, but all of your long guard parries will be at the ready. If the opponent keeps moving forward, they move right into your hands for traps, clinches, punches, or controls. And if they try to slip and duck their way in, you can drop your weight on them with your hands, breaking posture and forcing a carry or tie-up. Basically, the long guard option lets Bivol refuse Canelo's terms without giving ground, and all the while, his long guard creeps forward, gaining more control the closer it gets. It will be interesting to see how it plays out, whether Canelo tries his commitment trap, whether Bivol uses the long guard to counter it, and how Canelo adjusts if he does. Well, this is not an exhaustive list, but I hope it gives you some idea of how you can use the long guard to regain control when somebody is waiting on you to counter and you sense the trap.